Brewing all grain can be a bit intimidating at first, and extract brewing can be a touch lackluster, but that's where partial mash comes into play. A combo of the two and perfect for a beginner brewer. Today I'm going to show you a super simple and delicious apricot wheat ale recipe that's a great starter brew.
I'm TheBruSho and this is TheBruSho. Let's brew this apricot wheat ale.
What makes partial mash brewing so great is the limited equipment you need to start brewing. In most cases, you probably have everything you need outside of one major component, a brew bag, which can easily be bought at a homebrew store or online. If you have a large stock pot, thermometer, and a stovetop, you're good to start brewing beer. The concept of partial mash is relatively simple, and it's hinted in the name. One part of the wort is made using extract, and the other part is made using crushed grains by doing a mini mash, which is where you steep the grains at a certain temperature for a limited time to extract sugars. Typically, the way you think about it is to use malt extract, either liquid or dry, to make up the base or majority of the wort, and a mini mash of specialty grains to add character and depth. You can use the mini mash to add flavor, but also to add color depending on the grains you choose. You can really get as complex as you want. And a ton of people make amazing beer using this method, as it's simpler than full oil grain and you can still get great results. So today I have a recipe that's about as basic as you can get with partial mash. All you need is 2 ingredients, dry malt extract and white wheat malt. Of course you still need water, hops, and yeast, but we'll talk about that in a moment. If you never brewed with grains, I recommend you check out my all grain video where I go over the types of grains that you can use and how they're used on brew day. But to quickly explain, the grains or malts are sold at homebrew stores or you can get them online, and typically they're sold in their uncracked whole form. In order to get the most sugars and flavors out of them during the mash, they need to be cracked open. In most cases when you shop online, you can just request this to be done for you. Or at homebrew stores, they'll have a mill that you can use free of charge. But if you see yourself wanting to brew more partial mashes or even go all grain, then buying a grain mill is definitely something to consider. Having a mill will allow you to tune how fine you want the grains crushed, as well as allow you to buy in bulk to crush at your will. Okay, now that we know how to get the ingredients and have a basic understanding of partial mash, let's brew. For this recipe, we're making a 2.5 gallon batch. As always, I'll have a recipe and products I use in the description box. To start, heat up 3.5 gallons of water to 160 degrees. I'm doing this outside in my large brew kettle since it gives me room to do a full volume. But if you don't have a large kettle, then just use your largest stock pot and fill the kettle halfway up with water. Hold on to the rest of the water. You'll add it in later. Also, the water you use does play a big role in your final beer. The easiest option is using filtered water. Distilled water also works, but you need to add brewing salts to adjust the minerality for the best flavor and performance. And tap can sometimes have compounds that can negatively impact your beer. So if you're not comfortable or have a good understanding on water adjustments, then stick with filtered. But I do have a video on it if you're curious. By the way, if you like the shirt I'm wearing, it's from INTOTHEAM. They have a bunch of really cool graphic tees as well as great basics. Their clothing is extremely soft and comfortable and perfect for brew days like today or lounging around sipping on a homebrew. Also, they're a SoCal brand, and I love supporting local companies. If you're interested and want to save some money, use the link in the description, intotheam.com/TheBruSho, to get 10% off your whole purchase. They also have bundle deals right now, 3 graphic tees for $60 or 3 basic tees for $45. They're really solid shirts. I recommend you check them out. While the water heats up, let's talk about what's going in next. To make up the wort, we'll be using 67% dry malt extract, which comes out to about 2 pounds. This comes in all kinds of SRM or levels of color, depending on how dark you want the beer to be. I would just choose something light and low in SRM. You can also use liquid extract if that's all you have, but I usually have dry on hand since it's more shelf stable. Also, we'll be adding in 33% white wheat malt, which is about 1 pound for this recipe. This adds a great bready flavor and aroma with slight fruity notes, and will greatly improve the body and mouthfeel of the beer. All you need to do is crush it up and toss it into a mesh grain bag. These are super inexpensive, by the way, and you don't need a huge one since you're only using a little bit of grains. Once the water is heated up, drop in the white wheat grain bag. I plan to mash at 154 for 30 minutes. The mash temp determines how fermentable or how much sugars are available to be consumed by the yeast. Basically, how dry or sweet your final beer can appear to be. 154 is a great middle ground, and if anything will slightly make this have a bit more body and sweetness, which will play nicely into the style. Give the bag a good mixing around to be sure it's fully saturated, and just keep an eye on the temp. If it drops below about 150, just turn on the heat and raise it back up to 154 and turn the burner back off. After the 30 minutes, pull the grain bag and bring the wort to a boil. You can press out any remaining wort in the bag to get the most out of it. Or if you didn't use your full volume, you can pour the water over the bag to rinse or sparge it. Add as much water as you have left, but just leave at least a quarter of the volume empty for potential boilovers. You can always add the remaining water at the end of the boil. Side note, You can also use those grains to make all kinds of great snacks or foods. I recently made a delicious pizza dough out of my spent grains, so definitely save them. When you hit a boil, go ahead and turn off the heat and prepare to add in the dry malt extract. You want the heat off so you don't scorch the malt extract, which will taste like you burnt your beer. This stuff is sticky, so the second it touches the steam, it will start to clump up. But you can always just dip your bowl into the water to get it all off. Then just stir it in and make sure it's fully dissolved, and then bring it to a boil again. Just keep an eye on it this time. This is where boilovers will likely happen, so watch it and kill the heat if it looks like it's going to go over. Or you can always use a spray bottle with water to tame the foam. This is where having a relay pot also helps. Now that the malt extract is in and the mash is complete, that's really all there is to brewing partial mash. The rest of the brew day is pretty normal for any style of brewing. So once the boil is rolling again and the fear of boilovers are behind us, set a timer for 30 minutes and add in our one and only hop addition, a 1/4 ounce of Magnum for roughly 20 IBUs. Magnum is a great clean bittering hop and pretty much a staple for me whenever I want bitterness without strong hop flavor. Although any hop with a good stone fruit flavor would go great to pair with the apricot we'll be adding in later. At the 15-minute mark, I add a wort chiller to help cool things down after the boil. Adding it now in the boil helps the heat sterilize it. If you don't have a chiller, you can always just put your pot in an ice bath to cool it down. But not yet, we still have 15 minutes. Once the timer's up, turn off the heat and start chilling. Just be careful since now that the boil is over, anything that touches your wort should be sanitized. Also, if you have any water that you haven't used, add it in now while the wort is hot. It'll help cool things down as well. When the wort is chilled to about 67 degrees or so, you can transfer into your sanitized fermenter. And if you want, you can take an original gravity reading, which for me came out to about 1.043. With the wort in the fermenter, time to add in the yeast. I'm going with Cellar Science Cali ale yeast, a clean fermenting ale yeast that will work great for this wheat ale. Drop it in, give it a good shake, add an airlock, and ferment at 67 degrees for 1 week. After 7 days, fermentation activity had stopped, so I took a final gravity reading and got 1.006, meaning this one comes in at about 4.9%. Now let's talk about flavoring, the apricot. You can go many ways with it. My typical move would be to go with frozen fruit, put it in a muslin bag, and either add it to the fermenter for 3 to 5 days if I'm bottling, or add it straight to the keg. Or you can always do the same with puree and just dump it in. But today I'm going with dried fruit, which can be a good option for fruit that can be hard to find fresh or even frozen. A few things to note about dried fruit. First, dried fruit is often preserved with sulfur dioxide to keep the color vibrant. But sulfur dioxide is also found in Camden tablets, which are used to stabilize and inhibit yeast growth. That means if you add the dried fruit to the fermenter, it could impact the yeast activity and leave you with a potentially stalled fermentation if added too early. So the best course is to try and find an organic dried fruit that doesn't include sulfur dioxide. Or supposedly you could puree the non-organic fruit in water and let the sulfur dioxide off gas overnight. But I haven't tested this, so I can't say for sure. Best to stick with organic to be safe. The second thing to note is that dried fruit is more concentrated in flavors and sugars, so don't feel like you need to use a lot. I'm using about a ½ pound. I'm cutting them in half with kitchen shears and then just adding them into a muslin bag that I put into my keg. Then I just transfer the beer in. Just know that the beer will be a little bit sweet from all those sugars at the beginning, but it should mellow out after a few days once the yeast has time to chew them up. If you're planning to bottle, I would suggest putting the dried fruit into your fermenter for a few days until the flavor is to your liking, and then rack into a bottling bucket to remove the fruit solids from the equation. Once the beer and the apricots were in, I set the PSI in the regulator to 10 PSI and let it sit for 1 week. And after about a week, it was ready to drink.
Wow, this is really great. It's got a strong apricot flavor right up front. I'm also getting that wheat bread character that comes through at the end. It really goes down smooth, very refreshing. I could crush a few of these, I'll tell you right now. And look at that color. It's a nice golden orange, and it's got that great haze that we expect in wheat ales. The wheat malt we added gives it much more depth and flavor than just using the dry malt extract. And it also increases the body and mouthfeel, which makes this extremely smooth and easy to drink. The aroma is very strong on the apricot character, especially because we added so much into the keg. One note I want to make about the apricot is that if you don't want a strong fruit flavor, you can always dial this back. I think one learning point for me was that using dried fruit, it really does add a lot of flavor in a small amount. So definitely play with that, see what's the right level for you. What I love about wheat ales is that they're such great beginner brews. They're really simple grain bills, and you can add a lot of complexity with the fruit you choose. I've done in the past a watermelon wheat ale. Essentially the same recipe, just using all grain, but I think there's a lot of fruits that could add some great, interesting twists to a wheat ale. I would love to see this with either cherries, peaches. You could really go a lot of ways with this. So I hope you feel inspired to give partial mash brewing a try. It really is not that difficult, and you probably have almost everything you need to get started today. If this is the first beer that you make, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Happy brewing, and cheers!